Hello, class. So here we are, halfway through the semester. Can you believe it? It's crazy. Anyway, I just wanted to run a couple of things by you. First of all, everything is graded. So that's all of your essays, your plagiarism exercise, the discussion board posts, everything's graded. So you can look at my comments by clicking on the assignment in grades, and then there should be two files. One file should be your essay. So it'll say last name, narrative, essay, KK comments. So you'll click on that. And I'll have comments throughout your essay on a couple things for you to fix. And then I'll also have something written at the end about what I'd like to see you work on in the future. This is like both, good things that you did and some things that you can work on. And this is how I would really like your peer review posts to go in the future also. Read my comments and see how those go. A couple of you did really great on peer reviews, so well done for you. I love it when classmates can read each other's essays and recommend things to improve in the future and also acknowledge things that are done. This is more about the writing and less about the ideas. It's nice to be like, oh, this is a really interesting topic, but I think the writer gets more out of your comment if you say, hey, I think that your first paragraph would be stronger if you started with this sentence, or your focus isn't quite in that essay enough, so here are a couple things to let me help you with that. So that's great. A couple of you for those peer review posts would cut and paste the whole essay back into the email and use red text to illuminate changes. That's fantastic. So those of you who haven't done that, please do that in the future. Those of you who have done it, well done. So back to the grades. So you click on that file and you'll see my comments. A second file is listed under grades, and that's the holistic grading guide. So I've highlighted which requirements you've met with your essay. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to email me. Those are things that the English department decides for everyone. So all English teachers in the entire department use the holistic grading guide to grade essays. So get used to it. As far as the plagiarism exercise, less than half the class did it. Now I understand some of you were confused, but nobody emailed me about it. So if you're confused with an assignment, always email me, or you can come into my office. I'm there on Thursdays from, I think my office hours are 10:30 to 12. So come in, see me, or just shoot me an email. Also, there's a Q&A forum in the discussion board. So if I don't get back to you quickly enough, maybe a classmate will. But there are some options for you, so you guys kind of have no excuse to not do it. So those of you who did do it, did it well. You'll notice in both your essays and in your plagiarism exercises, I recommended that you take a look at the Little Brown Handbook. So that's this one. Now, granted, mine is like the super fat teacher edition, but yours should be, like smaller. Regardless, you should be looking at this book. You should at least have the book. But the beginning of the book deals with a lot of spelling and grammar and mechanics and that kind of thing that is required for an academic essay. But additionally, it deals with in-text parenthetical citations and with works cited pages, how to cite things. So I expect you to be looking at this. I believe next week we have an exercise about the Little Brown Handbook, so make sure you have one, if nothing else. Also, this week being our midpoint, you have an additional discussion board. You are going to be checking in and what things work, what things don't work, how you think you're learning about your writing so far. Also, a couple of you have already been posting in the discussion boards due this week with regards to brainstorming the next essay and with reading. Now, I think a lot of you are getting a lot out of the reading, and that's really cool. So make sure you're doing your posts. Make sure you're participating in the class. As always, if you have questions, be sure to let me know. Now, as far as the writing goes, there were a couple of things that I wanted to address with you all. First of all numbers under 40 should be spelled out. A couple of you, I made this notation in your essays, but get into the habit of it now. Also, Follow proper formatting. This is mostly header and heading with the works cited page at the end of the paper. I have an essay outline in handouts, which is fantastic. And I spend a lot of time on it, so it'd be kind of nice if somebody read it, you know. But I think that'll really help you with structure and to know how to format your essay. Also, some of you had some confusion within your essays, like some of your sentences didn't really make sense with the paragraph it was in. So always decide if your sentence supports the paragraph that it's in. That's another thing that the essay outline will really help you with, is how to focus and know what exactly belongs in your paragraph. Also, be specific. I said to a couple of your essays, give me details. Some of you, I said, hey, great job on details, but details will make your essay easier to write. Details make it interesting. It makes it human. Another thing is, when you're giving details, give us real concrete examples instead of generalizations. So instead of, I've dreamed my whole life of being a dancer, instead of saying that, you might say, I've dreamed my whole life of being a dancer, starting as young as when I was 7 when I took a ballet class. See what I mean? It's a little more specific. I'm also using an example. So make sure that these examples support your focus. That'll also make your paper easier to write. Also, a couple of you will notice that I highlighted a couple of words in like a cluster. They're close together in that paragraph. So I highlighted words in close proximity because they're too close. So if you absolutely have to use that word, then maybe take one out or decide if a synonym would work. And you know, if you don't need it, then be sure to cut it out. And this is why it's so important to write a rough draft and then revise your draft before you turn in your essay, because you're going to see some stuff the second time you read it that you didn't see the first time. And if all you're doing is typing out an essay really fast before it's due and then send it, then you're not going to catch those things. And I will, and then I'll be making notes, and then, you know, you might get a lower grade because of it. So I think that was everything I wanted to talk about. Thinking for a second. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. All right, well, this is fun. As always, send me emails if you have questions. And always, guys, be reading the syllabus. If you have questions about assignment due dates or minimum requirements for assignments. I'm getting a lot of questions via email that you should have read in your syllabus or through assignments or through discussion board. Also, make sure you're checking those weekly, those week things on the toolbars on the left side, because you know, those will keep you on track. If you click on week 4, it'll show that you have 3 discussion board posts this week. And then you'll say, oh yeah, I remember. And I think maybe that could be one of the reasons why I didn't have as many plagiarism exercises turned in last week, is because you guys haven't been checking that. So make sure you're checking that. Keep you on track. All right, I will talk to you all later. Happy writing!